Ryan's a crazy dude. He grew up through the 80s riding bikes, went to art school, and now he's like a big time fine artist, living in Brooklyn. I don't think he lives in Brooklyn. Living in New York, got a studio in Brooklyn. He still rides bikes. He's crazy compulsive. He collects random anything that's BMX from the 80s related, he collects. And most of his work has some component of that BMX life in it. And nothing about the way he does things is normal.
I grew up riding BMX bikes, and that whole culture is totally influenced me as an artist in terms of like creative output, looking at things very differently, the same way, you know, you size up some architecture or something and you look at it differently than like a normal person. I started riding, I want to say I'd always been into it. Like there's photographs of me like totally jumping like a plank in a bucket with like upside down 10-speed handlebars. It's out there. In terms of BMX, like proper, like when I first started going to some races, I'm gonna say 84, 85, I really started riding. But it was a very quick in and out in terms of BMX because my family just didn't support it. And then you had this new thing, freestyle, which you could do anywhere. It was awesome. It was totally cool to listen to the Beastie Boys and get drunk on a six-pack and try to ride your bike at 14. It was totally awesome, you know, do it again. I grew up in a town that was so small, like a lot of people couldn't imagine looking over the fence. Like they couldn't see beyond 20 miles away. And it was the 80s, and I would get these BMX magazines in the mail, and it was a whole new world. It was bright bikes, flashy tricks, an energy level that just really didn't exist there in a positive light. Like people, you know, burned stuff in the woods and broke things, but they weren't really like funneling all that energy into something positive. You know, this is like right at the beginning of like skateboarding's resurgence, BMX, trick riding, you know. The Billie Jean Michael Jackson video was out at that point, breakdancing, graffiti had started to pop up, early hip hop. There was like all this amazing stuff at one time that was all about being progressive and redefining, like, because the 70s was kind of scraggly, bearded, you know, whatever. So there was like this shining light that kind of came through. It started with these magazines and trick riding, especially. When I first got into freestyle, it really, it wiped every trouble I had away. At school, bad day, getting pushed around, girl won't pay attention to me, tough home life. BMX bike made it all better. And actually, I wrote my grandfather before he died. This is maybe 10 years ago. I wrote him a letter and I thanked him for like all the parts he had given me. And I said, look, I think I totally would have slipped through the cracks. I think I would be in a lot of trouble right now. Who knows, prison, I don't know. I said a lot of things. I said, look, because you were always willing to like buy me a new stem or a new set of grips or a new bike part, you kept me out of a lot of trouble. And you got me into some trouble. Don't get me wrong, but you kept me out of a lot of bigger stuff. I know one guy from that time period, but from like my immediate hometown, I don't even know what happened to those cats. Like jail, I know one of them was like smoking crack. Yeah, what do I say? BMX saved me.